There's a number of factors when you go to split wood, and I'm always learning. I think it's questionable whenever you see somebody say that they're an expert in a subject, because most subjects you have to continually learn. And so I'll preface this with saying I too am always learning. And what's a lot of fun with wood is that every piece of wood is different. There's a lot of different tools that you can use to split wood apart, and certain tools will work better than others. My preferred tool for splitting wood by hand is the Gransfors large splitting axe. This whole setup weighs only 5 pounds. It's got a shorter handle on it. It's 28 inches. It's got a nice stout profile with a wedge shape here that allows you to not only get into the wood, but also break that wood through apart. And if you get into the wood, that wasn't a good example. Sometimes with certain axes, you go in the wood. Those are not good examples. You'll do that. Goes into the. This is a pretty good tool. You go into the wood and it'll stay. It won't go anywhere. Yeah, this has got knots on it. This would be a good example. So you go in. The axe gets stuck. With an axe with a proper head shape, you just tap it and it comes right out. So it's never actually getting fully stuck in the wood. Again, it comes right out. There's a lot of different techniques that you can learn and watch people do, but it is an important subject. Pay attention to safety. Safety and sharp tools is paramount. So sometimes it might look like I'm being a little crazy, but I always know where my sharp tool that's being swung is. So you'll notice if I'm going to do a golf type swing down on a piece of wood, my legs are out of the way. My legs are out of the way. So I know where the axe is going to go. Now that might not be something that you start out with. You might start out with having a chopping block of sorts, a nice round. We'll use one of these as an example. Personally, I like a shorter type chopping block if I'm going to use one. But setting the wood up on the opposite side of that chopping block is important. So when your axe goes through the wood, your axe comes down into that wood and not following through into your body. Now, I don't prefer to use a chopping block in most cases. I think it's much more dynamic to be moving around and implementing other techniques like the flick. You see what I did there? A little flick. That allows you to not bury your axe into the ground where it could get chipped up by rocks and things like that. So always know where your sharp edge is. Again, block before you run. There's lots of techniques for splitting. This is one example. I've got this piece up against another piece. So when I come down into it, I'm going to go into that other piece of wood. A lot of bushcraft stuff here, right? You have a smaller axe that doesn't split through things. You can take that small axe and go right through into that backstop. So I encourage you to always look around at information from people on YouTube, in books. There's a lot of great axe books out there, but safety is really important. And a lot of this stuff builds over time, and you start to know, what in what situation what to do. And it becomes very dynamic. So I always know in this scenario, I've got wood back behind it. I'm not going to hurt myself. So it's really an important piece, whether you're using a chainsaw or you're using an axe. Safety always has to come first. This is another fun trick. You're stuck, but it likely will split. Slam it back down on that that axe head. That's it. The more time you spend in your wood pile, the more competent that you get. I have a wood splitter, but I very rarely use it. This is easier on my body because it's dynamic. Swinging the axe, throwing pieces of wood, using different muscles rather than being crouched down the entire time. You don't need a gym when you got a wood pile. See? Shoulders, upper body. Shoulders and legs. Load up them legs. Throw. Throw. Switch sides. Switch sides. Jazzercise. Very dry. Small, medium, medium, large. Vary your sizes. Small, medium, large. Split your wood like the grocery store. You got your nighttime burners. You got your get the fires going burners. You got your lower heat burners. Have a variety in your wood.
What's the grocery store reference?
Your wood pile's like you go to the grocery store, you got an aisle with racks with a bunch of different options. That's how I like to set up my wood pile. Especially our wood. You got your red oaks, your white oaks, higher BTUs, black birch. Then you got your maples. The white birch, they burn hot, but they don't last that long. Get the fire back going. So, not just in size, but also in species. Because every wood is good at something different. Ugh, grocery store. Here's a piece of oak. That was anticlimactic. Red oak. Blah, blah. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's fun.